Yeah, good evening. Good evening, everyone. Everyone is able to hear me? Everyone is able to hear me? Okay, just a couple of minutes. Just a couple of minutes. So Google Classroom link is sent several times by no, I already uploaded the notes. See, suddenly you are coming today and you are asking all the things. I cannot do anything. I did not start it at this session, so I did not share my screen. Right. I think everyone is able to download the note, right? Everyone is able to download, right? Okay, so let me share my screen. So just 1 minute. So just 1 minute. Okay. Okay. I'm just sharing my screen. So now let us create my own project. So which is Mockito. Okay. Everyone is able to download the notes that I sent you, right? Okay. So what I'll do is now in my format Excel, what I do is, so I'll take this dependency and also I'll add now one more dependency, which is org.mockito. And here I'll say mockito JUnit Jupyter. And here I'll say 2.19.0. Okay, so these two dependencies I'll be adding. And similarly, I'll add one more dependency, mockito core. Okay, these two are required actually. Mockito core. So Mockito will work with JUnit only. Okay, Mockito will work with JUnit only. But you have to add these two dependencies. Okay. Just note down, these are the dependencies that we have to use. And JUnit will be the same thing, just like how we used in the other JUnit demo, the same dependency I'm copying. In addition to that, I'll be adding these two dependencies. These two dependencies are for Mockito. Okay. Let me know. Let us start with a simple example. Then I'll take to the. Yesterday we told about this example, right? So So this is the example, right? And okay, let us take this example. Let us take this example, not now. After dealing with simple examples, then let us take this kind of example. Mainly, we should avoid writing while testing, we should avoid calling the DB logic with the help of mock object. Let us take a simple example now. What I'll do now, I'll take our JUnit first example that we have taken. Like this example is right. Okay, this example. I'll take this example. So with the Marketo, how I will do? I'll just put here system dot out dot println. I'm just putting like why I'm putting system dot out. When I call this method, this should get printed. So I should know that whether the call is going to this method or not. In some method. I'll also put like in product method. Okay. That's all. Now what I'll do, I'll write one test class. Right. I'll remove all these. These are your older versions of JUnit. I'll remove all this. Yeah, come on. Now, by the time you might be knowing what we can do now, right? What we are doing now. Anyone can tell? Write the test method. Now I'm just adding the sum test. Right? First define input. I'll say int num1 equal to 10. Int num2 equal to 20. Define expected output. I know that int expected output. If I pass this 10 and 22 add method, what I'll get? 30. That is my expected output. Okay. Now get actual output. Right? What is actual output? Now I'll create an object app. New app. Now app dot sum of num1 comma num2. So this will be your actual output. Right? Now what I'll say asset equals, right? This is all we know. Expected output, comma, actual output. Right, okay. Asset equals. Sometimes this cache will not. Right. So if I run this program, Let me change this to this. I told how to change this in the first class. I uploaded the document also. JUnit test. Now you see the JUnit is passed. The JUnit is passed, but in the console you see it is going to this method. That means this is calling this method and this is getting printed. This is getting printed and it is going. But this is not what this already we know this. But now what we have to do, we have to try with mock-it. Okay, this is your real object, right? As I told you, this is your real object. Okay, this is your real object, right? Now we have to get the mock-it object, mock object. So how we have to do? Yesterday I told you, right? This is real object. Now I have to get mock object. How will I tell? App equal to. Okay. Mock-it dot mock of app dot class. So this is the mock object. And this is the real object. Right? Now when I run this code, I got test case failed. And in my console also nothing got printed. I told you, right? This is not calling the real method. Now this is your mock object. When I call dot sum, do you think that this is calling this method? No. It is not calling. The real object is calling the method. See this. With the real object, it is calling the method. With mock object, this is not calling the method. See, even if I put actual output. Now I run the test code, run as JUnit test code. See, I got actual output as 0. Because this app.sum, this app is your mock object. Calling method on mock object will not call the actual method. Will not invoke the actual method. So since it is not invoking the actual method, the default value of integer is 0. So it is returning 0. Nothing is coming. It's a dummy output. So this is a dummy output actually, because this is not invoking the actual method. It's a dummy output. That's why you got 0 here. Now, this is the real object. So from the real object, you can call the real method. This is the real method. This is the real method. Now for mock object, when you call this method, it is not into the actual method. It is not going to the actual method. So thereby it is returning some dummy output value. But now how to actually, as I told you, right? We have to create a mock method which works like a real method. We need to create a mock method, but that is not the real method. We need to create which will work like a mock method. So for that, what I'll do, here I'll do like this. I will say when app.sum of num. Okay, then I say dot, then return. Okay, then return num1 plus num. This is actually the, we can say this is the behavior mock method logic or behavior of real method. See, what is mock? Mock is not a real one, but it will behave like that. If you say mock exam, when I say mock exam, okay, mock exam means it is not the real exam. It will work like real exam. You'll have the same question patterns, but they're not the real exam questions. It will be a practice for you. That's all. So similarly, now you see. Now I am creating a mock method logic here. See, you can read this English statement like this. What is the English statement? See, when some method is called on mock object app, right? Some method is called on mock object app, then return addition of two numbers or add a sum of two numbers. So your real method also behaves like that, right? Whatever your real method is doing, the real method, what it is doing, I am defining logic here. Okay, whatever the real method? Okay, whatever this real method this is doing, you are defining the logic here. Now you see. Now you will see now you'll see what is the actual output you'll get. Just I'll say run as JUnit test. Now I got the actual output as 30. Now I got the actual output as 30, not 0. You know what is happening now? So this is my test code. So this is my test code. Okay. Now you see here. Now you see here, I'm creating the mock object. Now mock object method is called. Mock object method is called. Now I'm creating a behavior. This is called behavior of the real method. This is considered as mock method, which is behavior of the real method. Right? Now, I mean, real method will behave like this now. Now, this is your mock object. Now, when I call sum, you know, now this will not call the real method. This will not call your real. What is your real method? This is your real method, right? This is your real method. This is your real method. This will not call this method. So what it will do now? This will actually execute this one. This will execute this one. That means this will execute this one. This will execute this one. So this is the behavior. So this will call this logic, whatever this logic. So this return value will be assigned here. Okay, this return value, whatever this output is here, right? Then return value from this method. So this value will be assigned to here. What is num1? 10. What is num2? 20. 10 plus 20 is how much? 30. So your actual output is 30. So that is printed here. So that is printed here. So that is printed here. Okay. See, suppose my real method mistakenly instead of sum, for sum instead of sum, I do like mistakenly. Okay, mistakenly I do x plus x. Developer does not recognize this. In place of y, he is putting x, 2 times x by mistake. Okay, 2 times. Okay, two times x he has put. Okay. Now I'll create my mock behavior also. I'll create like my mock behavior. I know my mock method behavior. Here I will not do mistake. So here I will do num1 plus num2. But see what is happening. Here I am doing the mistake x plus x. Now in my mock logic also, my developer will think, okay, it is num1 plus num1, but it is not the real logic, real correct logic. Now if I run this, you know what I'll get now? JUnit test. You got 20. Why? 10 plus 10. 10 plus 10 is 20. Your actual output is 20. See, this when, see, this is a logic. You can think like this is an English statement. When is a part of your Mockito package. Okay. Then return is a part of your Mockito package. See, what is telling when some method, just read this statement. When some method is called on mock object app, then return sum of 2 numbers. Okay. Now what we are doing now, when I say app.sum of num1 comma num2, this will not call this logic. This will not get executed. Okay, that's why this is not getting printed. You see, this is why this is not getting printed. For the real object, it will get printed. Now when I call this one, now this behavior gets executed. What this behavior tells, when some method is called on mock, that is the same thing I'm doing here, right? See, when some method is called on mock object app, then return sum of 2 numbers. So what is the sum of 2 numbers? This one, num1 plus f. So this result is assigned to the actual output. Is assigned to the actual output. So when I say system.out and actual output, so expected output and actual output are matching. So this is the, we can say this is the mock method or the behavior of real method. You will understand this kind of significance slowly, why we are doing this kind of thing. When we start with the database programs, there you'll see the real scenario. Our main objective of Mockito is not to connect to the database, but test the method. You will understand that significance here. But here, this is the basic for this. This is the fundamental. Remember, when I call mock method on the mock object, this behavior gets executed, not the actual logic. So that means whatever this output is, right? This output will be assigned with this then return value. See, you can read this as English statement. See what this tells: when some method is called on mock object app, then return num1 plus num2. The same thing it is coming here. Now I'm calling this method. Now, when some method is called on a mock app object, so what will be the actual output? Your actual output will be this one, this value. Okay. So similarly, I'll tell you one more scenario. I'll tell you one more scenario, right? So what I'll do is, I'll tell you one more scenario. I have one class. I'll write one class called list processor. Okay, list processor. Okay. Now I'll have one method, public int, get filtered list count. Okay, here I'll say list integer. Data. So list integer data. So what I'll do, I'll just what I'll do, I'm passing an array list here. And from this array list, I want to filter only the even numbers. So this method will return or will filter only the even numbers from the list. Okay. So what I'll do, I'll say list of integer filtered data list is equal to new array list. Okay. Now what I'll say, I'll say for integer I colon data, I'll say if I mod 2 equal to 0, now filtered data list dot add of, that means even numbers. Only for even numbers I am adding here. Even how to check whether the list number is an even number or not? If I mod 2 equal to 0, if I mod 2 equal to 0, I'm adding that in a filter list. Right? Now I'll just print here system dot out dot println. Okay, filtered data list, and I'll say return filtered data list dot size. See what I'm doing. So I'll create one main program here just to show you. I'll explain this once again. Main string args. Okay. I'm creating a list processor object equal to new list processor. Okay, then I'll say list integer data is equal to, I'll say arrays dot as list of, I'll use some random numbers 2, 19, 12, 13, 11, okay, 7, 8, 31, like this. And here I'll say int size equal to list processor dot get filter list control data. And here I'll say system dot out dot println of size. So this is how I'll do it. So I'll just explain this program. So this is my main program. This is my original program. This is not the test method. Okay. Now if I execute this code, from where the code executes, main method, right? Now I'm creating a list processor object. Fine. Now what is this arrays dot as list of this one? I'm creating, this is integers. I'm creating a list of integers. That means I'm creating an array list with these integers. I mean, with these values. Okay, 2, 19, 19, 12, next 13, next 11, next 7, next 8, next 31. Okay. Now this is the list. The object reference is data. Now when I say list processor dot get filter list count, so that is calling this method. Okay. What this method is doing, I'll tell you. So now this is taking this list. Okay, this complete list it is taking. This complete list is coming here. Now I'm creating one filtered data list, one new filtered list. That means a new list is created. This is called filtered data list. Filtered data list. Right? Now what I'm doing now? Now I'm iterating in a for loop. On which list? This list. This list. So I'm iterating. I'm reading each and every element of the list in the for loop. This for loop, I'm reading each and every element. First element you will take. Now I is your 2. 2 mod 2 equal to 0. I'm checking whether the number is even or not. To check for a even number, I have to take that modulus of the 2 will be 0, right? The remainder is 0. Yes, 2 is a even number. Then I'm adding this in the filtered list. That means the filter list I'm adding now. So your filtered data list is 2 now. Now it will go to the next element. In the for loop, it will go to the next element. 19 mod 2 equal to 0? No. 19 mod 2 is not 0. 19 is not an even number. So it will not execute this condition. Okay, fine. Now it will go to next number, 12. 12 mod 2 is 0? Yes. So add in the, only if it is mod 2 equal to 0, only add that in the if condition. So 12 mod 2 is 0? Yes. So 12 is added here. Next, 13 mod 2 is 0? No, right? 13 mod 2 is not 0, right? So this will not get added. Fine. Next, 11 mod 2 is 0? 11 mod 2 is 0? No. Next, 7 mod 2 equal to 0? No. Next, 8 mod 2 equal to 0? Yes. 8 mod 2 is 0, right? So now that is added here. That means this list contains only the even numbers. Now 31 mod 2 is 0? No. That's all. This loop gets completed. Now when I print this filtered data, I'll get only these 3 numbers. 2, 12, 8. Only even numbers. Only even numbers. Now I'm returning this filtered list dot size. Size means what? The number of elements. How many elements are there? 3, right? That means out of total of these elements, how many even numbers are there? Only 3 are there. Only 3. So that I am returning here. When I print now, I'll get 3. See, I should get this size as 3. Say I got 3, you see. I got 2, 12, 8. 2, 12, 8. The same thing I got here. Everyone understood this logic, right? Everyone understood, right? So from the list of the numbers, I'm filtering only the even numbers. Step by step, I explained, right? Every step I explained. From main program, how it gets executed, I executed the step. See, this method will create a list of integers, an array list of integers. Now each element will be one number. 2, 19, 12, 13, 11, 7, 8, 31. Whatever I have given these, that will be in this list. Now I'm calling this method. So that means this method is called now. I am passing this list now. That means this list of integers is passed here. Now I'm creating a filtered data list. This is a separate new array. Now I'm iterating over this list, each element, and I'm checking now the first element. 2 mod 2 is 0. Yes, it is even number. So I'm adding that in this list. Right? Next. Right? Next, 19 mod 2 is 0. No, that is not added. 12 mod 2 is 0. Yes. 13 mod 2 is 0. No. 11 mod 2 is 0. No. 7 mod 2 is 0. No. 8 mod 2 is 0. Yes. So total filter list contains now 3 elements. Now when I print this one, I get only the even numbers from this list. Which are even numbers? 2, 12, and 8. Remaining are all odd numbers. So 2, 12, 8 is printed. That's what I came. And what is the size of this list? How many numbers are there? 3. So this list contains 3 elements. So the size of the list is 3. Any doubts still now here? Any questions? Everyone clear? Okay, scanner is not recommended. Okay, you can take from scanner, but I just hard coded the numbers here. Right now, how to write the test code for this? How to write the test code? Now you see. Let me know. System.out.println in get filter list count method. Right? Now this is your business class. Okay, now I have to write the test code now. Now I'll write one more test code here. So public void list processor test. Processor test. First, define the input. Right, define input. What input I'll put? But now I'll pass. I'll say list of integer. I'll pass data. I can pass test data here. Arrays dot as list of 11, 14, 18, 19, 31, 40. I'll pass like this. Now this is the input I pass. Now what is my expected output? My expected output is what actually, when I call this list processor, I should get the number of even numbers. How many even numbers are there here? 1, 2, 3. Okay. Let me give one more number, something like 56. How many even numbers are there now? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 even numbers are there. So my expected event number count. How much? 4. That is my expected count. Okay. Now get the actual output. Now this is where you have to go with Mockito or real object. We'll see. If I go to real object, what I'll do, I'll create one real object here. Right. Now I'll say app dot. Sorry, not app, right? List processor. Sorry. Not app. I have to create this object, list processor. This is a separate class. Then list processor dot. I'll say get a filter list count of data. So this is your actual output. Actual, 1 minute. Yeah. Sorry, I got a call. So I'll say int actual event number count. Okay. List processor dot get filter list count of this one. Int actual event number count. Okay. Now what I'll say, asset equals expected event number count, comma actual event number count. Now see, when I call this will go to your real method now because this is a real object. Okay, this is a real object. Let me now say run as JUnit test. Okay. Okay, this is the first output. Okay, this I'll comment out. So now this test gets, okay, first this test method gets executed. Next, this test method will gets executed. Okay. You know, actually, I can write a separate test method also instead of writing in the same class file, because I know that this is for app class. Now I can write a separate test class for this. See, in the test code only, I can write like this. Let me do like this. I'll say list processor test. So I'll just say Control X. Here I'll say like this. Okay, this will be only for app, and this will be for your list process. Let me run this. Run as JUnit test. See now. So this will call this method. Now it is going into this method, right? And it is printing this, right? So what is happening, you see here? I'm calling this one. I'm calling this. Right? Now, see, not this one, sorry. I'm calling this. Right? Now, when I execute this test method, what happens now? When I execute this test method, this is an array list. Okay, this is a list created. Right? Okay, 11, 14, right? 18, 19, 31, 31, 40, next 56, right? This is the list. Now my expected count from this list is even numbers will be 4. This is my expected, but I have to see the logic how it is coming. Now I'm calling get filtered list of passing this data. It will call your actual method because it's a real object. This is a real object. So this is a real object. Now when I say list process dot get filtered, this logic gets executed. This one. Right? So this logic gets executed. Now, if now I'm creating now filtered data list. One filtered data list I'm creating. Now I'm checking now, again, the same logic. Now, if I mod 2 equal to 0, 11 mod 2 is 0, no. Next, 14 mod 2 is 0, yes. So 14 is added in the filtered list. Okay, filtered data list. When I say filtered data list dot add means it is adding. Next, 18 mod 2 is 0, yes. So 18 will be added here. Next, 19 mod 2 is 0, no. 31 mod 2 is 0, no. 40 mod 2 is 0, yes. So 40 is added here. 56 mod 2 is 0, yes. Right? So now when I say filtered data list dot size, how much? 4. Now your actual event number count is 4. Your expected event count is also 4. So 4 match this. But now we should test with not the real object. We should test with mock object. In mock object, what we do now? In mock object, instead of calling the real, this is the real object, right? Instead of calling this, we should call the mock object. So list processor equal to mockito dot mock. I'll say list processor dot class. Now this will be your mock object. Now when I call list processor dot get filtered, it will not call the real method. You see. Now you see, I'll run it. Run as JUnit test. You see, your test case is failed because this is returning a dummy output. It is not. This is not calling the real method. This is not calling the real method. So that's why it is returning dummy output. Your actual event count is 0. It is coming as 0. So as I told you, right, when I call this method, we should get the mock method executed. So for that, what we have to do? Right, when, okay, you have to write that one. When list processor dot get filtered list count of data dot, okay, dot, then return. So by seeing this logic, I'll be knowing, okay, it is filtering the even list. So whatever this logic behavior, I'll put here. I'll put here. Okay. So finally I'll tell 4. I know that by seeing this logic, if I pass this integer data set, this logic will filter 4 even numbers. I know that. How will know? I can put a diagram like this, and I can know this logic works like this. Now the same behavior. Now what I'll do, I just put here that value. That means this logic I am putting in this kind of diagram, and I will be finding the how many even number list comes. So that even number list I'll add here. This is the behavior now. Now when I call this method, this will get executed now. This will get executed. So when I have test code like this, so when I have test code like this, now when I say like this, get a filter list count. Now this will not call. This will not call this. Now this will call this part. Okay, this part. So now the output value from this value should be matched. Okay. Okay. I'll tell you one more way also. I'll tell you one more way also. What you do is you take this logic. Just copy here. Just copy here. Filter data size. Size is equal to filter data list dot size. Okay. Just take this variable and copy. That means you are simulating whatever the real logic is there. That logic you are bringing here. Now what will happen now? Now you see here. Now what will happen now? Okay. This part. Okay. So this part is the simulation of the real logic. Real logic simulation. Right? Now this is your mock method now. This is your mock method behavior. Okay. Now what we'll do now? Now when I say this is your mock object. This is your mock object, list processor. Now when mock method is called on this object, now this will be called. This will not call the real method. This will not call the real method. Will not call real method. Now this will be called. Now this output will be this value. Whatever this value is there. So this value. And from where this value comes, this logic gets executed. That means when I execute the unit test code, first this gets executed, next this gets executed, starting. Next it will create this one. Next this logic gets executed. This logic gets executed. And in filtered data list, that value will be stored. And now this behavior I'm defining. Now when I call this method so this will get executed. And this out, whatever this then return value, this value will be assigned to this one. What we are doing here, We are trying to now, we are testing, we are trying to avoid the call to go to the real method. And especially this will be useful. Now this is fine. For these logics, actually for these logics, you can directly test it with the real objects. But if this logic is having some database logic, at that time we have to see. So this will be useful, especially if the real method has a logic, has a DB logic, so that the test data will not insert in the DB. In the database. So tomorrow we'll see that the test DB, how we can avoid. And now today, by the time now you got an understanding, right? By the time now you got an understanding how to create mock object and all, how to create the behavior. All right. All right then. Tomorrow we'll connect then. Okay. All right then. Okay, I'll upload the notes. Okay, tomorrow we'll connect then. Okay, thank you all. See you tomorrow then. I uploaded all in the Google Classroom link till yesterday covered. Okay. Okay then. Thank you.
Recording stopped.